My 1961 Ford F100 heater housing probably looks similar to yours in that this housing that comes before the air gets into the heater is shot. It's all broken, missing. The door doesn't open. All kinds of things could happen. And we're all trying to fix the same problem. What do I do to get fresh air into the cabinet? What I did was I first took some thin sheet metal and I tried to build a cover that covers that hole. I figured, well, if I can buy some kind of a vent that fastens on there, maybe I can go over to the air intake hole on the side down near the kick panel and I can get some fresh air in. Sure enough, on everybody's favorite online ordering store, I found these four. They come in a package of four. They're metal. They're not plastic. And they're, 4-inch diameter pipe. They had the holes already drilled. And so I made this piece of metal to fit into the hole there. Now, I wish I could have made it a little heavier duty, but I think it's going to be okay. I don't have all the bending tools to correctly bend it, so I had to use thinner metal. Anyway, so I've got this cover on here. Then I've got two of these flanges that I'm going to fasten, and it just fits inside of this area. And it turns out that the diameter of these flanges are just about the right size to fit over that oval size hole that we've got in the kick panel. So I'll end up having an oval shaped area that I need to plug. I'm going to take the other two that came in the package and I'm going to do some welding and maybe make a patch, and I'm going to make a piece that has a double circular flange that fastens onto the kick panel of the truck, and it'll probably take me about 4 or 5 inches of hose between each of these pipes, and I'll have permanent outside air coming in. That doesn't allow me to shut off the outside air, but at least I get fresh air. And of course, if it's raining or snowing or if it's damp out, you don't want recirculating air. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of fogged up windshield. So I need that fresh air. And this particular heater is the heavy duty heater. So it's probably going to be sufficient. That's my patch for the missing and broken and unavailable heater pieces for these old trucks. Each time I fastened these rings on, I had to trim a little bit off the bottom just because the way it fits right there. But the good thing was that I was still able to use the two original holes that they had. There'll be a lot of sealer going on here afterwards, as you can well imagine. In order to find out where the holes go, I held it into place, and then with a pencil or a scriber, I just scribed around the inside, and I kept trimming with my snips just until I was happy with what was going on the inside there. So this one here, I'm just positioning it. You can see I'm using the same rivet hole for both of those there. At the top, it just fits in on the bottom, and the top one is folded down. It's bent down, and there's one hole that I've drilled. You can see that over here I did not cut the box. There is one extra hole, but so far I have managed to do all of this without damaging the box at all. We'll see if it finishes up. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to have to set the camera down, but I'm just going to hold it right here and take a pencil and draw the inside of that hole so I can trim that out. How did I start the hole, you ask? Cut-off saw. Working carefully so that I don't accidentally go flying in and hit the heater, you can see that I'm a real daredevil here working with the heater core still installed. But that's the way I do it. So I'm just going to trim this out and see how it fits. I've got the holes marked for the second flange. Just wanted to point out, I'm not too interested in pushing a drill bit right through my heater core. So I've got some kind of a spacer that I found, and I put it on the drill bit just so that it won't go any deeper than looks like about 1/4 of an inch. While I've got this apart, I just wanted to show you how I'm holding the back together. So I've got some of these special clips. I just put them on here, and these 3 holes were already drilled, and this contraption is going to fit inside there. There we go. And then I'll just put 3 screws in there. Had them in there several times. It fits. And I'll put 3 screws in here. I'll use the original screws, and they'll go in there. Probably there'll be a screw in there. I don't know if it'll hold anything together other than just the 2 pieces there. Same for the one on that side. There will be 1 screw up there. And of course I'll paint it black. Looks like I might need to do a little bit more trimming on that one. One more shot before I quit for the evening. I added some seam sealer to the gaps. This is the same seam sealer I've been using on all the body panels whenever I fasten something together and done work even with welding. Put the seam sealer in there. So seam sealer in here, at least the air isn't going to leak out around the cracks there. Next day I will clean it and paint it. Today I'm working on the flange that fastens onto the kick panel so that I can put on my other 2 hose connections. So I first started off with some thin cardboard from a file folder. I held it tight up against the hole on the side of the vehicle and rubbed my dirty hands along it, and so I've got an outline here showing me the size of the hole, and I know where the fastener holes were for the screws, and then I trimmed it down to the same size as the original piece that fastened on for the opener door. So this is the door I'm not going to use. It was sealed in there, but now my template is the same size as that. So I don't need that anymore. Then I took a piece of sheet metal and I cut out that oval. After I got that cut, then I took my 2 flanges and set them on and decided that I was not going to line up the hole here with the mounting hole. It looks like it will all fit inside. All the rivets will fit inside of the opening, which is good. I don't have any interference with the fastening rivets for the flanges. I don't have any interference with them causing problems with mounting flat onto the kick panel of the vehicle. So I'm happy there. Then I took my pencil and I marked out. So here I have the shape, and so really right now I'm going to cut the opening for the circles, and I'm going to leave all of the rest of the material. Okay, the holes are cut. I'm happy with the size of the holes, but I remember one thing I was planning before I did any of the cutting. I was thinking about it about a week ago, and I was thinking, oh, I need to leave some extra metal here at the top so that I can make a drip flange so that the water that's inside of the fender, in behind the fender, doesn't actually go into the duct. So if there's any water coming down from above, it's going to hit the flange and drip down. So big mistake. So that just helps me because it's made my decision. This is the metal that I'm going to use for this piece. I'm going to recut it, but I'm going to leave a little bit, maybe a third. I'll start by leaving about a half, and I will see how much of it will create a bit of a flange so that water basically doesn't go into the ducting. You recognize this piece. This is a spare heater housing that I have. So I've got this sanded reasonably clean compared to what it was before, and it will not be as flimsy as this. I really don't see this sealing properly with only 4 screws holding it on. So I'm not even going to bother trying. Now, while I'm here, I better show you what I finished last day. So here is my brush rust coat trim clad paint on the flange that goes on the heater box. I have it roughly cut out now. The holes are oval shaped. You can see the difference between where I cut and where I would have cut if I followed my template from before. Same thing on the bottom one. So we'll find out later if making a little bit of a lip there is going to work or not. If it doesn't work, well, I can always cut that piece out and then I'll have large holes. I also was thinking about putting some kind of a screen on the inside to keep mice or birds or rabbits or dinosaurs or whatever it is from crawling inside. Here's the heater box after it's installed in the cab. So I've got these aluminum 4-inch ducts. In behind each of the ducts is some foam weather stripping, which I put onto the flange before I put the tubes on. It's a little difficult to push the tubes on after the weather stripping is on, but I've got a couple of clamps on this side, and I'm going to put the clamps on the other side later, but we'll just let this sit for a while. And I've got the bolts tight on the inside of the firewall. I think I may put some kind of a cover over these aluminum pipes. They're too easily damaged. And I know what happens. Kids sit in the truck and they kick something, and these are all going to get kicked in. So I think that before I actually do the driving, I'm going to figure out how to make some kind of a panel, whether it's out of plastic, but I'm going to put a panel over this and so it fits down underneath the bottom so that nobody is kicking on it.